Okay, and I believe let's see. All right, there we go. All right, well, Mr. Morris Curry, how you doing there today, sir?
I'm doing the best I can with what I got.
All right, man. Man, really good talking to you, man. Like I said, I'm just really starting this out to kind of start to pull together the history of the Langston band.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I've been in the bands since I started high school in 1996, and like I said, I kind of a band head, know everything almost about everybody else's band, and some
Mm-hmm.
years back wanted to kind of start learning more about the Langston band. So I've actually kind of done a lot of digging, going through the old Langston letters and gazettes and
Uh-huh.
yearbooks, and like I said, now I really kind of want to start talking to people during the time, and really getting this story out, man, because the band is really growing now, and to have a nice foundation for them to sit on as far as the historical aspect of the March and Pride as it's known
Right.
today. Really be good for them and stuff like that. So I definitely thank you for giving me your time, and like I say, I may hit you back again once I kind of get everything set. But I just want to do like an initial thing to kind of get some
Mm-hmm.
questions answered here
Sure.
for the band. And so, where you from, sir?
Originally I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay, okay.
I went to, I lived there at in Tulsa. Went to elementary school all the way through high school. And then my senior year, my mother uh, had to move to Muskogee to take care of ailing aunt. So
Mhm.
I actually graduated from Manual Training High School in Muskogee, Oklahoma
Oh,
in
okay, okay.
1964. So, um, and that's where my band career actually started because the uh, Avalon Reese, who was the uh, band director,
Yeah.
uh, she asked my mother to send me down to the school. And she said she wanted me to drum something. And so I
Uh-huh.
said, Mama, I don't play no drums. She said, just go see what the woman wants. I said, okay.
Okay.
So she walked in, and I don't know if you know about Avalon Reese, but she went to Langston as well.
Yes, I've definitely heard of her before.
And she was an amazing woman. And so
Hmm.
she knew my family. Excuse me.
Uh-huh.
And I walked in, and she was directing the band with a drum mallet. And she threw it at Oster Woolridge. And I ducked. And she said, "Oh, Negro, I ain't gonna hit you." And so, cause she had that reputation, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So she told George Cherish, "Go in there and get that boy that stick." And so I walked in. She handed me the stick, and I thought she was gonna hit me with it. But the uh, the, uh, the drum major, uh, the guitar.
Uh-huh.
So she told Joyce, who was the head cheerleader, she said, Major Red said, "Go down there." Said, "I know that boy got some rhythm. Go down there and show him what to do."
Okay,
That
okay.
became my career as a drum major. So I was drum major my senior year in high school. Our band, which was my only, of course, back then, we're talking about 1964.
Mm-hmm.
We had all black band, and we were the only black band in our congress, in our division, I guess. And we took first place in all of the band competitions and things. And then I went to Langston on band scholarship and was there 4 years from 1964 to 1968.
Wow. Okay. What did you play in high school?
I had a B flat cornet
Okay,
was
okay,
was my instrument.
okay. So what brought you to? Well, you say you got a scholarship to Langston, but what brought you to Langston, pretty much, or what was the thing that kind of solidified your decision to come to Langston University?
Well, all of my relatives had been in Langston. My
Mhm.
family was Cookseys, and my mother was a Cooksey. everybody knew me as Cooksey. As a matter of fact, when you walked on the campus, you know, the people labeled you. And so one of the guys knew my family, and so he said, "You're Cooksey, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Yeah." So everybody started calling me Cooksey. They never called me Morris Curry.
Mm-hmm.
My mother
Okay.
came out to school looking for me one day, and she was asking for Morris, and she said, "Morris." So one of the guys who was from Tulsa knew. I said, "Hey, Miss Cooksey." Said, "What?" She says, "I'm looking for Morris." She said, "Miss Cooksey, nobody know him by that name. His name is Cooksey."
Okay.
So, so everybody knew. If
Mm-hmm.
you mention my name, everybody knows Cooksey. They don't really know Morris Curry, you know, unless they, really, grew up with me and stuff. But
Okay.
my family, my mother went to Langston. She was in Phyllis Wheatley. There was a
Mm-hmm.
dormitory called Phyllis Wheatley. She
Mm-hmm.
lived in Phyllis Wheatley.
Okay.
And so I didn't, I just, matter of fact, I had a scholarship to Baylor, I had a scholarship to 3 or 4 other colleges and stuff. And I just showed up at Langston one day. I got on a bus with $5 in my pocket, a clean shirt, pair of clean underwear, and went to Langston in summer school. I started this summer and stayed. And nobody actually knew where I was until it was time for the bill to be paid. So that's when they found out where I was, because nobody really knew where I was.
Yeah.
I just showed up there that summer and stayed.
Okay, man, that is really interesting. Definitely really interesting. Okay, so on to the band. So when you first joined the Langston marching band, was there like a procedure? Did you have to like audition or
Yeah,
go to a
yeah,
band
there was.
camp, stuff like
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Dr. Sims was the band director, and uh, so I had planned to go out for the football team or the basketball team.
Hmm.
And Jerry Porter, who was the quarterback at the time, threw me a football, and it almost broke my chest. I decided that I ain't never had no ball thrown that hard.
Yeah.
And if I was going to have to catch him, I was going to I was going to die from a hole in my chest. So I went out. So somebody said, Cooksey, you was marching, once you join the marching band, So I said, okay. So I just went out to audition, and you had to audition. They had several teachers and people. It was a spectacle. I mean, people were lined up to see people try out for the drum major. And I remember Carolyn, we call it TC.
Hmm.
She was from Texas, and she tried out, and she was good. She was a real drum major, man. I beat out everybody, I guess, and every year we had to try out, and every year I won, the audition.
Okay. Did you have to come in and play a horn first, or you pretty much just went right to drum major?
No, I was just drum major. No, I didn't have to play anything. I was just, this audition was for drum major, period.
Okay. So did they have like separate auditions, like one for the members who were joining the instrumentals and stuff like that who joined the band, and then one for like the drum majors and everybody else, or how'd that work?
Well, people who were music majors, whatever, automatically, Dr. Sims, had selected people, and to play in the band, and some of those guys they had scholarships, and of course, what you tried out for was what chair was going to be, what first chair, second chair, third chair,
Mm-hmm.
and so they had individual competitions such as that, for who was going to be in the seat and so forth. But you could join the band if you could play. But the competition was for what seat you would have. Your first chair, like Neil McNeil was, I forgot Neil McFrazier
Mm-hmm.
was first chair clarinet, and so and if you in your first chair, you also was would stand in as the second chair director, So I directed, uh, Dr. Sims was there. I directed the band, and then if I wasn't available, then Neely would direct the band. But the competitions for what we call the ancillary stuff, you want to call that, the drum majors, majorettes, all of those were additional
This own thing. Wow. Okay. Yeah, because like nowadays, like you kind of had to be in the band for a few years, before they pick you as drum major. They kind of pick it out of the ranks of who it is already marching and stuff like that.
Yeah, no. People went out. Whether if you were in the band or selected in the band, the drum majors was separate. You didn't have to play instrument actually to be a drum major.
Wow, that's interesting.
You just had to know how to march. And most people who went out for drum major or whatever were in a band, but at the same time, it didn't mean what their proficiency on their instrument didn't have to be. It was basically their poise, their leadership, the ability to lead.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. And so like nowadays, like we have kind of what's called like crabs. Like these are the new members of the band that are coming in, and essentially what happens is you have like crab classes. And so like I came up in Langston University marching pride in 2004, and so like I'm crab 2004. Somebody else may be crab '06, crab '07. What was there a culture of kind of the new guys coming in versus the old guys who had already been there, or kind of what was that like, if there was a culture of that at all?
Well, yeah, we certainly had the old people that was there. Like Neely was there before I was,
Mm-hmm.
But see, we had a chapter of Kappa Kappa Psi.
Mm-hmm.
So the Kappa Kappa Psi members were actually the ones who were in the leadership of the band. So when it came to we did some hazing, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That they were the ones who had the pecking order,
So wow. I'm just saying wow, just kind of to that whole thing, just the fact that so it wasn't as much as just kind of the older people or the older folks that was what we call old heads, the guys that had been there 2, 3, 4 years that was in the band. It was more so from side down, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So the band fraternity leadership was the pecking order.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And so we didn't have they taught us the girls Tau Beta Sigma.
Yeah,
we didn't have Tau Beta Sigma, but we did have Kappa Kappa Psi.
Yeah.
So most of everybody in the band was in Kappa Kappa Psi, except for the girls.
Mm-hmm.
And so the pecking order of, you say, age and so forth, or respect came from those older guys. So there were people who came in who were there before. They kept the culture of what the band was. You had a standard of that they kept alive. So you pass that down from generation to generation.
Yeah. Okay. And so, what were some like old traditions and stuff that you guys used to do, or even new traditions that came up while you were in the band, like certain chants, just the way band, like for instance, like we have a defense chant and stuff like that we've done just year after year after year, and then we have even a little thing where the tubas play a certain song and stuff, and the band, the drum major does a move, and then the band does a move, and that's really been going on for almost like the last 20 years and stuff like that. So, what were some traditions and stuff like that of the old band?
Our drum line was basically they were the showcase,
Mm-hmm.
and also our entrance, because we did 120 steps, a second, right? The same thing that FAMU was doing.
Mm-hmm.
That was our was our entrance. And so those 120 steps, say from 8 to 5, marching 8 to 5. That was our sort of our mantra. So, but the drum line was outstanding. And so, when it comes to the chants and things of this nature, the cheerleaders basically did that. We just, made our presence known on the field, and because we weren't allowed, Dr. Sims was very strict. We weren't allowed to be playing while the game was going on. People in the game, and they wanted to hear what's going on, and he didn't want us to be acting like a fool. He said he was one of those guys that was pretty strict. As a matter of fact, when I cut my first step, it was about today he would nobody be on the field with what's happening today. With Dr. Seal, he didn't play that.
Yeah.
He said, we ain't clowns, okay, and not that people are, but that was he wanted. We were very dignified in what we did, precision. 8 to 5. I mean, you hitting that line, and the designs on the field were impeccable. Okay, there was nobody out of line. Everybody's in step. I mean, you talk about the precision. And I wish that people, it's amazing because I've been trying to find out because he would take the films of the game, and our performances were captured by the football team. And so he would do is go to the football coach and get because they would take the whole game, and he would go and get the tape and show us, what we were doing and how we were doing and what we needed to do. So just like the football players had skull practices, the band had skull practices.
Man, that is cool, man. I wish some of that stuff still existed, man. Well, ironically enough, I found the tape a while ago, and it was labeled Langston Homecoming late '60s. And I took it somewhere, but they said they weren't able to get anything off of there. And so I'm trying to get that tape back now, man. And like I said, just kind of continue trying to see if I can find, anybody, man, that'll do anything with that, man. But wow, that is
Well, I
crazy.
tell you, check with the football coaches and their families, man. I can't even think of his name. Call you birds. But the coaches from 1964 up through '68, if you have any of their families, or the football, any of those films, I'm telling you, because see, we were number 3 in the nation in marching bands. FAMU, Tennessee State, and us.
Wow. Okay.
And so Dr. Sims was known for his precision, and his daughter might even have some of those tapes. They live in I think she's in Colorado. But if you ever seen some of those tapes that we had, man, you would just blow your mind. I remember we went to Lincoln, Nebraska, because we played Lincoln for their homecoming, and it was like 8 below zero, and we went out and we had a big sound. We had, especially our brass section was dynamite.
Yeah.
And we went out there one day and we had that big sound. We started because the sticks,
Yeah.
and the corns and stuff. And so we went from, it was really funny. We cracked up about that. But if you ever got a chance to get one of those tapes, man, talk about precision. That was what it was. So we didn't really have like I said, during the game, we played during intermission or when there was a timeout or something like that. But not necessarily, and then when the cheerleaders would lead something else in my head, but not necessarily, all the time. Like some of the games now, the band is playing all the time.
Yeah.
And, but that wasn't the culture at the time.
Yeah, all the more reason why I know hearing from a bunch of old heads way back in the day and stuff like that. For y'all, the field was it. There was no, you mess up on the field, then you get back and make it up in the stands. Like that was it. Like once you lost the field show, you lost the game and the battle between the bands and stuff like that. And it's crazy, man. Like nowadays, like it's completely flipped now. Like you can go out and be trash on the field, but it's like as long as you're just, loud and kind of stuff like that in the stands, you might come away, with a W to some people and stuff like that. So, yeah, man.
People after, as a matter of fact, people came to the games for the band. In my day, they came to see the band. The football team was good, but mostly they came to see the show. And we built inverted diamonds under Smith and Sims, and also Yeldale. He came behind Yeldale. I got so many guys in my mind, but the one came behind him. It was just impeccable precision. And sound. I mean, the sound was just you couldn't believe the sound. You would think you were in an orchestra, in Carnegie Hall.
Wow.
Yeah, the musicians were just absolutely out of sight.
Okay, so what were like some songs that you guys like played back during that time, if you can remember?
Well, I would say they were mostly Broadway songs that I can remember. I think our fanfare and the American plays when they do the. You got me to think. I'm 75 years old, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. I know this is throwback for you, and all the more reason, man, why I definitely want to get this history and stuff like that. Now, man, this is definitely, man, some good stuff, man. Like as I said, I just love hearing new information and stuff like that, and definitely spreading that amongst the folks like that, just to keep some of this stuff alive and to keep these stories alive, man. So
but we would do a lot of Broadway songs, things that were popular. We didn't really do a lot of what they call contemporary, jazz things you hear on the radio, like pop songs and stuff of that nature.
Yeah, the top 40s and stuff.
Yeah, they were basically complicated orchestra stuff that you would hear if you were going to go to Carnegie Hall, or you were going to go to some event that you would pay money to go to. So the Broadway songs and things of this nature, they played those. It's pretty complicated, as well to play, especially in college.
Yeah.
And then we played for all the campaigns. We played for Dewey Bartlett. Matter of fact, we played for his campaign. Matter of fact, he had a song. If you want more jobs and no more taxes, vote Dewey Bartlett for governor. And I think Dr. Sims actually composed, the thing. Dun, 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 dun. And then Neely, he was a consummate clarinetist, man, and he would do the
yeah.
It was something else, man. But we played for the governors and things of that nature, for their campaigns.
Okay, wow. And so let me see. Did you guys have any rivalries with other bands and stuff like that? Like I know for a long time with us, we had a rivalry going back and forth with Lincoln, and I mean from from what I'm seeing with you guys and stuff like, or at least you guys played Lincoln. But what was that rivalry like? And did you guys have any other rival bands?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, Lincoln was a rivalry band. Okay, because they were, some of the folks who went to Langston was not only was like in staff of their band.
Yeah.
Okay, and so like they're in the music department. So it was uh, Prairie View, uh, Bishop,
Mm-hmm.
and and Lincoln. And so I would say probably Lincoln and Bishop was probably the biggest rivalry.
Hmm. So Bishop had a band back during that time.
Yeah, Bishop had, yeah, because we would drive. I remember we had a 1965 Mustang. I didn't take the Mustang.
You riding in style, huh?
I drove from Dallas, from Oklahoma City to Dallas, 1965, Mustang.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, man. So
And
so
my uncle,
uh
well, I called him uncle, but he was actually my dad's first cousin, was the president of Bishop College.
wow. Wow, man. Again, man, there's so much history, man. So much good history and stuff like that. That you shared with me today, man. Let me see. What were some memorable performances for you while you were in the band? Like some of the ones that just like really just stick out to you, either when the band was just hitting on all cylinders, or maybe it was the type of performance that you were doing. Like for instance, the with Langston University and I think what Wiley were the ones that started the State Fair Classic. Well, the Langston University Marching Pride actually got invited back to play for the State Fair Classic this past fall in 2020, and so the band hasn't been there again for over 100 years. You know what I'm saying? And they actually got a chance to kind of go back and perform because the SWAC wasn't letting their bands travel. So PV and Grambling couldn't do the game as usual. So we went out there and I mean, they really went out there and they really kicked ass, man. They did really good and they represented Langston University really well. It's out there on YouTube if you get a chance to check it out, man. But what were just some really memorable performances that stick out in your head during your time in the band?
Well, you know what? Every one of them, I'm serious as a heart attack.
Uh-huh.
There was never a time that band, I'm telling you, if you talk to people in that era, they came to see the band. It was a performance that every performance was a stellar performance.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to talk about memorable, the only memorable one I can remember is the one in Lincoln when it was 8 below zero and we came out. The Hulk destroyed our band.
Hog was out there, huh?
Oh man, I'm telling you, because we were known for this big sound.
Mm-hmm.
Our brass section was something else, man.
Mm.
And it had that big, brass sound, man. We just, you could hear it from Oklahoma City to Tulsa,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, but every performance was a meticulous performance. Hitting that line at 8 to 5. I mean, there's nobody off step. Everybody's legs, arms was perfect in perfect position. It was just astounding.
Yeah, what were band practices like back during that time to really get the band that tight? You know what I'm saying? And you said and kind of the as well as that, what was William E. Sims like at that podium, man, back during your time?
Well, hey, he was the czar, man. I'm telling you, he didn't play around. You know exactly what you needed to do. We marched. We came back in August. We were the first group back to school. So the football players and the band was back in school 1st of August all the way through till the end.
Mm-hmm.
And we practiced, every day, rain, sleet, or snow. We were practicing.
Mm.
Okay. While the band was even so the band were in the band room. Those of us, this not cheerleaders, the drum majors, drum majorette, because when I came, it's only one drum major. I was on the drum major. We didn't have a one.
Okay.
And until Elmer Sims came, I think Elmer Davis. Elmer Davis came, transferred from OU my senior year, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had two drum majors then. And Elmer was a hell of a drum major too. You might want to talk to Elmer. Have you talked to Elmer?
I have not. Trust me, I definitely plan, after this to kind of start getting more and more contacts and stuff like that and reaching out and, man, getting these stories, man. This is like just the kind of historian in me is just screaming right now. Like, I can't wait to share this footage, man, because, like I said, man, a lot of people really want to, know more about the history of this band. As I said, again, Langston wasn't really, as big and stuff like that when the internet age started coming out and stuff like that. You didn't really hear a lot about the band. There wasn't a lot of posting about the band. But, I mean, in recent years, we are everywhere, man. I mean, everybody's talking about us. People are, giving positive praise on our growth and stuff like that. And, and even a little bit of hate and stuff like that. But again, if they ain't saying nothing about you, then that's when you should worry. And so,
Well, that's good because that's the way it was for us. We were the talk of the state, man. Like I said, everybody came to see the band, and I can give you the names and telephone numbers of some of the folk that are still around that you could probably talk to, even some people who weren't in the band who could give you an idea as to what their impressions were of the band as students.
Oh man, yeah, that would be awesome, man. That would be awesome, brother. Let me see, just a couple more for you. Okay, so Butch is, of course, as the legend of Langston. He's still down here, man. I just seen Butch actually yesterday. He usually goes to Miss Meek's trailer and stuff like that, and he'll sit in there and stuff like that all night until she closed, and then he'll go on home after that. And so, I have definitely the pleasure and honor, man, of just being able to communicate with Butch every day in the community, with me down here in Langston and stuff like that. And so, I mean, what's some of your memories of Butch, man, back in the day and stuff like that?
Hey, man, Butch has been in every band in the world.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I took, it was always a mystery about why Butch, because he never went home, as the legend was that his parents dropped him off in Kansas, I think, or somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And some of his family dropped him off and never came back and picked him up. And so we really never know what Butch was. Butch was there when we got there, and Butch was there when we left. Butch was there when we came back.
Yeah.
I remember one Christmas I took Butch home with me.
Okay.
And to Muskogee, I took him home for I think it was either Thanksgiving or Christmas, and he stayed with us for the break and stuff. And then we would stay home because most of us, especially in the band, we had these care packages, the parents. So we had, spam and then commodity cheese, commodity spam,
Mm-hmm.
and we was making food, in the band room,
Wow.
So,
Okay.
sometimes you couldn't go home,
Yeah.
because you didn't have money, especially if you lived in Texas or someplace where they would get home. Some of them who lived in Oklahoma,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes they didn't get home, but Butch, man, let me tell you, he's like I say, he's just like a brother, to most of us,
Yeah.
Everybody took Butch under his wing, protected him. We know that he was autistic, we know now that he was autistic, we didn't know nothing about autism then.
Yeah.
But, he
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, oh man, awesome. That's great, man. That I definitely can't wait to hear, more of those stories and stuff like that as I go on and talk to folks.
As a matter of fact, when I went back. Well, we had our class reunion in 2018. I think that was our 50th
Wow. Okay.
class reunion,
Uh-huh.
and I saw Butch, and Butch remembered me. I mean, it's like he remembered, everything. I didn't have to, sometimes you see people have to see, hey, he knew who Cooksey was right there.
Wow.
He knew exactly who I was.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely, and he hasn't changed, with that at all, man. Man, just his memory's just so sharp, man.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy. And so I know, like during that time, you guys had the Vietnam War and stuff like that going on. How did that affect the band and alter the role of the band during that time?
It was pretty devastating because we were getting messages every day about people who had died.
Man.
They had gone, and most of us had, I think it was, A1 and E2. So there was a draft. We were in the draft. So if you were in school, you had a draft number. I think it was A1 and A2, and then if you got married, you had, you moved. So if you were in college, you was supposed to be pretty safe if you got married. So that's why a lot of guys got married because they're changed. So, but it didn't matter for us who were black because they were taking black folks to Vietnam every single solitary. So it wasn't uncommon to see people disappearing from college because they got drafted. And so some of the guys in the band left a big hole because these were some great musicians, man, who all of a sudden were there one day and they weren't.
Yeah.
And then we would get news of folks who had passed away, things of that nature. If you had money, you could get some of our black families had a little position to the fact that they could get their kids in the reserves.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got in the reserves, then that was a way for you to get out. But not many of us had that kind of pull
Yeah.
to get into the reserves, or even because we had some folks going to Canada too. But it was a tumultuous time because we were like I said, we were getting news that guys who were going into the army, were coming back home.
Yeah, wow, man, that's crazy. Yeah, because and I thought about that as I was thinking about the years that you were in, because I know just historically, wartime has just been, what I'm saying, devastating, man, to college campuses and the marching band and stuff like that. As far as that's concerned, and yeah, wow, man, that's crazy. And so just kind of wrap it up here. What was the name of the band during your time in there? Because as far as I've looked back, like right now we're known as the Marching Pride. I've seen I've actually talked to Mr. Brown, and Mr. Brown gave me kind of the background on how he came up with that name. He pretty much put out a contest to the band members, and they all submitted names and stuff like that, and so they ended up landing on Marching Pride Express. And so it was Express for a while, and then eventually they dropped the Express, and we've just been Marching Pride, for the last, 20 plus years, but really even 30 plus years really now. And so what was the name of the band, or the nickname of the band rather, during your time? And do you remember, any other nicknames that the band might have had before your time?
I really don't, other than I just knew that we were the 101, marching 101, marching lions, and because I believe we had 101 was our number.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you guys got on the field, you guys were just mostly, when the announcer called you guys off, it was just mostly the Langston University marching line or marching band.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, sir, man, it was definitely, man, a pleasure and an honor and privilege, man, to talk to you, man. And I definitely thank you for spending some of your time, just going over some of this history with me and stuff like that. As I say, this definitely won't be the last time we talk and stuff
Sure.
like that, because I have so many more questions, but and just kind of get your juices flowing on some of your experiences and stuff like that. I'm gonna definitely come back and hit you with the side stuff, man. It's a lot I definitely want to know about that. But I just kind of wanted to keep it all just banned for right now, just so I can start getting everything in one accord. Then I kind of come back around with
Yeah.
that. But is there any is I'm sorry, is there anything
No.
that you have just kind of words of wisdom and stuff like that for some of the current members that's there now?
Well, when I went back, and I have to tell you, the first time that I have been back to Langston, but the last time I was at Langston was before 2018 was in 1972. I had been back since then because I had moved to the East Coast. I was working in Washington, D.C., and, the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And I had never had an opportunity to come because I was traveling all over the world. But the experiences that I had of brotherhood and sisterhood in that band was what today we still connect people who I went to elementary school, Dunbar Elementary School in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Muskogee. All of those people are still in contact with one another.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because most of us were in the band, and we traveled together. We slept together. We ate together. And one of the things that when I did go back was I was surprised that I didn't know what was going on with the band. That the bands had never reached out to the old band members.
Yeah.
Some of us who had paved the way, for where they are today. And because, like you were talking about the older guys, who were there,
Mm-hmm.
those old guys, when we got there, they laid out the lay of the land. This is who we are. This is why we're who we are. And they kept up, so every generation primed the next generation. And we kept that going. And then all of a sudden, I guess after we left, I don't know, somebody didn't do a good job or something happened. We just kind of lost track.
Yeah.
And, I was always asking about it, hey, what's going on? And I always wanted to have an alumni band, and I put the idea, I think they did it one year, where they had an alumni band where, people come back, because that keeps it going, because when you go home, when I went back to Tulsa, we were always recruiting for the next, people from, when I go home, I'm recruiting.
Yeah.
And when people went to Texas, they're recruiting. People came from California, they're recruiting. So we recruited, we were the recruitment for the band. And somehow some of that kind of fell by the wayside.
Yeah.
Where the recruitment, of previous band members kind of stopped. And I think that's something that really needs to be, revitalized in some way, because even fraternities, the fraternities were populated by people who went home, and I knew what I wanted to be before I even got out of high school, because the people in my church who came home, they were recruiting for their, for their different clubs or fraternities and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's those are some of the things I think that really is sort of this. So I guess keep it going, keep the, what's his name? Just keep hope alive.
Yeah.
Keep marching alive, keep the band alive. generation. Everybody, because see, people knew who band members were when they went home, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they saw them. They idolized them. You know, those folks, man.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, they knew that, even the policemen in our town, they knew who you were. You know, if you were in the band, the basketball, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So passing that legacy down. And like I said, everybody, when you mention Cooksey, they know who Cooksey was. They know who, oh yeah, he was the band, he was the drum major, man.
Yeah.
My little nephew, Malachi, Malachi?
Wow, okay, that's your nephew?
Brown?
Yeah.
Malachi Brown and his dad, his mother and I went to elementary school, from elementary school to high school together. And he's not my blood brother uncle, but I'm his uncle.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay? And his father is my best friend.
Wow, that's cool.
I know when Malachi was born. I was there when Malachi was born. And so it was something blessed, it's kind of a blessing, to hear Malachi, I don't want to admit it, but he's probably a better drum major than I was.
Okay. But just them family bonds, man, you know what I'm saying? That's just, and even now, we got a few legacies and stuff like that in the band, people who were in the marching pride, their children are now, starting to come through and march for the band and stuff like that. And so, yeah, man, that's definitely just one of my main goals, man, for the band. And it's just to strengthen the bonds between the different decades. Because honestly, that's what really, makes some of the more, well-established bands and stuff like that. That's what kind of shines their light a little brighter, is the fact that they're all connected throughout the decades to their marching band. Like I know for me personally, like I really only go back to up until like the early 90s. Like I really don't know anybody from the 80s and beyond. But like if you go to, like a Florida A&M or Southern University or Jackson State, them cats know, even if they don't know them directly, you know what I'm saying? Them bonds are still strong between them decades of the 80s and the 70s and the 60s. And so, I definitely want to get that going here. And, all it really takes is just to reach out and to talk to folks. Cause, I see that, just as excited as the new generation is for band and stuff like that, and just excited some of the older cats who marched back 10, 20 years ago are still excited and exuberant about it. Guys like you who marched back in the 60s and stuff like that, and are just still as passionate about it, man. And it's, I really enjoy kind of hearing them stories and stuff like that, because it's like you can only really view the band from when you were in it. And so it's like you see these pictures, and I know at least for me, it's just like I wonder if they was cracking jokes on each other, you know what I'm saying, or I wonder if they got in trouble with the band director and had hearing those stories really just solidifies the experience, even for the newer folks, just to really let them know that you're not going through anything different as far as just the main mechanics of being in the band than somebody did back in the 60s. Just the technology and stuff like that is different. And just the fact that, again, just like you say, the band is a family, and I say, like, we have that unbroken chain. Like I could say who my trombone section leader was. He could say who his was. He could say who his was, all the way back into almost the inception of the band. You know what I'm saying?
That's
and so, yeah, man. And so just strengthen them family ties between the marching pride and stuff like that, and the other additions, man, is my main goal. And yeah, man, as I said, I'm definitely going to be reaching out to you and trying to reach out to some other folks, man, and just slowly but surely putting these pieces of the puzzle together. And so when it's my time to kind of move on and do something else and stuff like that, I can leave this to kind of to somebody else. I'll always kind of be looking over it and stuff like that, because that's just kind of my passion. But yeah, man, just to really kind of leave that legacy, and again give folks a chance to kind of tell them good stories and stuff like that, man.
Yeah. I was just thinking about it, because there's a lot of fun, man. The band bus got lots of secrets.
man, wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening on them trips under them blankets.
Oh man, and again, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody marching now, would of course, why they wouldn't necessarily think, they was kind of, the first one, to be, get away with some tomfoolery and stuff like that, like you say on the bus, you know what I'm saying? Just to know that again, like that's not anything, remotely new. Like, people from generations and generations back, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so and so again, it just kind of really humanizes the experience, man, and just give folks that motivation, man, to continue and to keep our thing going. Because whether the band's been big, the few times it has, or whether it's been small, struggling, doing good, we keep pushing, man.
Yeah, it's like I tell them youngsters, man, stuff y'all doing, we invented.
Yeah, man. Well, man, it was a pleasure talking to you, Mr. Morris Curry, aka Cooksey, drum major of the Langston University Marching Pride Band, member of Kappa Kappa Psi. Man, as I said, man, I definitely appreciate, man, hollering at you, and man, I will definitely get back in touch with you. I'm gonna get your email address and stuff like here before I cut off of here, so I can get them numbers from you, and I can, as I said, man, I pretty much went through, just as much as I could go through as far as band history and pulled a lot of it, man. So I'll shoot you some pictures and stuff I got. So kind of the next time we talk, man, you can kind of, go over the pictures and stuff like that. Just kind of, you know what I'm saying? Just give me some little perspectives on that.
Right, yeah. I forgot. I was the president of the chapter, Kappa Kappa Psi, with chapter there.
Yeah, and see, we just, we just had a line come through this past spring. One of the largest lines that we've had, I want to say since '99, and so yeah, man, and so like everything's really and Tau Beta Sigma, you know what I'm saying, has gotten back on the yard over here with us and stuff like that. So we're just really rejuvenating that with the numbers and the fresh leadership. We're really moving forth in a direction, and as I say, I definitely want to make sure, man, I reach out to the past and share that with the present, man. So, again, just like you say, they can know, where they come from and stuff like that, and kind of get to hear the stories of the shoulders of the giants of which they standing on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because we definitely stand on, because I stood on somebody else's shoulders, man.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing about it, is that we never forget where we came from. We didn't get where we are just by ourselves. So somebody, paved the way for us to get where we are. So I'm grateful. If it hadn't been for the band, I probably wouldn't be the person I am today.
Definitely.
So I applaud what you're doing, man. Anything I can do to help or promote it or do it, you let me know. I'm in your corner.
All right. Well, thank you again, man, for the interview and stuff like that. As I said, man, I'm gonna definitely reach out to you here as a crow flies.